Hello everyone and now welcome to game number 2 in a series between Soin and XiaoKai. Um, I have 3 games in this series. I do not know if it is a best of 3 or a best of 5, nor were the games numbered for me. This is from Douyu Cup Season 1, and well, I enjoy casting best of 3 series or series just because I can see how the games progress over time, the different strategies, the different openings, and the little bit of head fakes that go into a game that only show up during a series. These particular replays were chosen by myself without a prior viewing, so I don't know much about them, about the quality of the game. But I must say I was very satisfied with that first game on. Um, was it Last Refuge or I believe that was the first game was on Last Refuge. And anyways, here we are moving on to Northern Isles, perhaps one of the favorite maps of all of the players, as we are looking at a Crypt Lord versus a Farseer matchup again. And Soin is also still opening up with that Altar of Storms and Farseer. We'll see if a Lumber Mill will be placed down and that very fast tech to Tier 2. He was able to get that Tauren chieftain, well, pretty far along, I must say, eventually taking the overall experience lead away from that Farseer, even though the Farseer was out first. There is that Crypt Lord here. Also, eagle-eyed viewers from the previous match will know that a second necropolis was built in order to gain a little bit of supply. Necropolises provide supply without taking as much lumber, and also gives you another option to try and train up acolytes if there is a large amount of harassment. Crypt Lord first, however, this time around, and this is definitely one of those go wide strategies over opening with that Death Knight. Um, Crypt Lord first, probably Death Knight second, into a Lich third, as the Crypt Lord, well, already taking a fair amount of damage, but able to do a lot more creeping away from the ghouls. Farseer is already out onto the battlefield here. Did it bring in some spirit wolves? Yes, it did. The spirit wolves are going to be haunting every different corners of the map. Crypt Lord really just using the beetles and that skeletal minion pretty effectively. And oh, a nice last hit steal coming in from that Farseer, 21 to 27 damage. Crypt Lord backing away here. We are going up into the Necropolis by going in for a Crypt Lord first and not having to creep with those ghouls. He didn't have to get that second Necropolis, as the tech to tier 2 by Soin is already almost 60% done. All right, and a very aggressive fast attack to tier 2 once more. And what's scary though is that I don't see a barracks. Without a barracks, that Farsi or that Tauren chieftain second is not going to be able to really creep at all. That is a little. Well, we'll see how many units he can build out here. There is a Voodoo Lounge getting added in, and is the Farseer perhaps going to be doing a crazy tech and trying to go Wind Rider second and needing double Bestiaries? There is that War Mill, and he could just be trying to skip skip the barracks altogether. Farseer coming in, putting pressure on to the Crypt Lord once more, as the Beetles, well, following that Farseer, trying to add in some of that damage. All right, eagle-eyed viewers waiting to see what is Soin's tier 2 strategy, especially without a barracks yet. And Farseer trying to do a little bit more stealing. Ooh, is he going to be able to get it? No, he is not. Crypt Lord able to pick that off, no problem. Does have a Scroll of the Beast for a little bit of bonus damage here, and try and put in a bit more pressure. Ensnare going on onto those Spirit Wolves, and Spirit Wolves going to get taken out, giving that Crypt Lord a bit more experience. Farseer now just constantly getting chased by these beetles. It's just an infestation causing problems for that Farseer. We are going into double bestiaries. There is a Shadow Hunter second, so not a Tauren chieftain. And well, Soin opening up with that fast Farseer tech to tier 2, but this time going to be bringing perhaps Wind Riders or Raiders to the battle. All right. 22 over 31 supply. Are we going to be taking the tier 3? Yes, we are. And well, it could be that strategy where you use Wind Riders, those Wind Riders with those spears, and well, that spear poison damage just really starts to add up. Poison damage only available, I believe, to Orc and a Night Elf, unless I'm forgetting something somewhere. And it feels I think it was a recent update. I don't know if it was officially in the patch notes anywhere, or I haven't. Well, I don't remember in the patch notes anywhere, but the poison from different units are actually stackable. Farseer is going to try and yes use that scroll of town portal, trying to get away. There's a hex on to that Cryptlord. Cryptlord still gets up to level 3 though, as it finally backs up. Wondered if it might be Shadowhunter second after you mentioned the Torrent Chief. It wouldn't work without melee support. Yeah, Shadowhunter second does make a lot more sense here. Bestiary is going into the Wind Riders. We should be getting in a more and more Wind Riders, perhaps up to 16 to 20 supply in Wind Riders, and then really hoping to catch his opponent off guard. Farseer is relatively low, and the Shadowhunter are both relatively low on hit points, as the Wind Rider is going to be joining in on the battle, perhaps going to try and put some damage onto that Cryptlord now. Cryptlord quickly getting in some of that, getting some heal from that Death Knight, as we're looking at damage still adding back up. Another Death Coil there. Death Knight out onto the battlefield, a quick 400 hit points to that Cryptlord as he retreats back home. All right, Soin definitely losing the experience race right now, but with Wind Riders getting added in, yes, they are a bit of a glass cannon unit. We should be looking at another Orc Burrow sitting at what 38 out of 41 supply. He is supply blocked at this time. And well, Wind Riders themselves are already such a supply-heavy unit that you really want to get into that 50 supply and really want to leverage them. This is going to be a problem. Soin's going to find himself a little bit behind here, as he's losing valuable production time on these bestiaries. All right, perhaps he should have taken out one of his own peons to try and free things up right there. But then again, he's only going to be able to train up 3 more units anyways. All right, there goes those Envenom Spears. We should be trying to train up more Wind Riders as that becomes available once more. Beetle now trying to retreat back as well, as we're looking at the Pure Vitality dropped. True Shot Aura on the Farseer, and talking about getting exactly the item you need. Soin is in a good spot right now, getting in essentially a 1-0 damage upgrade, as the Envenom Spears are nearly done. Heading back off to the north here, Cryptlord, Death Knight, Ring of Regeneration on that Death Knight. You can see how fast he's regenerating those hit points. And well, since he can't Death Coil himself, it does work out well. Obsidian Statue could get bursted down here. Are we going to take a lot of damage? Already down to 119 hit points. A couple more bits of damage will finish it off. Is it going to be able to hide back in there? No, it is not. And now in comes the Scroll of Speed. No Spirit Towers whatsoever. And this is going to be a bunch of dead units already. All right, Wind Riders going after those Spirit Wolf, or excuse me, those Acolytes. Acolytes taking a large amount of damage, and the units are going to be backing away. I don't see any gargoyles in the air there. And nicely done once more. The Spirit Wolves still going to town, able to get in that damage. Are we perhaps going to see some, well, Envenom Spears? Yes, and just one more shot will finish it off here. And, well, trying to, get away once more. Now that there is a Crypt Fiend out on the battlefield, though, he does not want anything to do with that. And instead, Soin going to use this opportunity to clear out the creep camps and perhaps get a little bit more experience. He is behind in experience, but with these Glass Cannon Wind Riders, he should be able to clear out a lot of creep camps sitting at 50 supply. All right. Farseer needs a little bit of mana in order to absorb some of that damage here. Here we are, Farseer, no mana, no Spirit Wolves. The Soins, Shadowhunter, and Farseer are going to be taking a large amount of damage. Both sides fighting their way through that damage over time, really taking away, as the Farseer does get up to level 3. Units are not trying to back away there. Finally, the Spirit Wolves are there to absorb some of that damage. Shadowhunter has Endurance Aura as well. Faster movement speed, higher damage, faster hit rate, and the items for Soin are just just exactly what he wants at this time. Is Soin just gonna completely surprise his opponent once more? As we're looking at the beetles repairing here, or the peons repairing here, damage adding in, a third of peon needing to be thrown into the mix here to keep this one Voodoo Lounge alive. All right, it's getting up to 65 supply here. Just throwing back that damage again, and in comes the Wind Riders. Here they are. There's that damage. There's a Crypt Fiend there. It looks like it could have been webbed down. There goes a Ghoul as well. Farseer, Shadowhunter, both sitting at level 3. Damage could get added up pretty quick, as there is one Spirit Tower and a second Spirit Tower trying to get added once more. Scroll of Town Portal, Healing Wave bouncing around, as I believe the Crypt Fiend, and there goes a couple of webs. Scroll of Town Portal trying to get away. 2 Wind Riders completely blasted apart, but some Crypt Fiends were lost in that engagement too. 50 supply quickly reached by Soin, retraining those Wind Riders that were lost, purposely trying to stay at, well, low up or no upkeep and rebuild all those units here. We saw a couple of healing salves be used, and perhaps we could be looking at more creeping going on, perhaps getting to level 4 between that Shadow Hunter and that Farseer. Shadowhunter, Farseer, both sitting at level 3, going up against a level 3, nearly level 4 Crypt Lord, level 2 Death Knight, and level 1 Lich. Lich with that Orb of Corruption, a massive or a good power spike, and one of the main reasons why Orc or Undead players go to Tier 3, that Orb of Corruption, such a vital point and strategy in the game. All right, also, I wish there was a little bit of tension, honestly, for the Orb of Corruption. The Orb of Corruption, anytime in any real-time strategy game, anytime you see a specific strategy used in every single matchup, you kind of have to question how powerful that strategy is, right? It's like you want decisions to be situational, right? You don't always want it to be, what should you do here? And if the answer is you always get an Orb of Corruption, or you always get this, then it's just like, well, really? Like, you're not responding or reacting to your opponent. That's just something you should always do, and that once you get into items or strategies that are like that, it kind of takes away a much of the tension that is needed. All right, peons gonna go ahead and try and retreat back here. Are we gonna see a couple of units getting caught in transit? Well, there's a free Crypt Fiend. There's a Hex, and down goes that Crypt Fiend there. How would you change the orb to create such tension? I don't know. That orb is such a good item, good against all races. All right, I would. I really don't know. It's just so useful overall. All right, coming back down to the south here, we are looking at watchtowers being thrown up in addition to the Acolyte trying to expand here. Down here, are we going into a base race scenario? And I am a bit surprised at how effective or how much Soin's base is getting cleared out here. Ghouls are trying to run away here, but they are just going to get blasted apart by those Wind Riders. But Soin's army isn't really, capable of fighting back against XiaoKai's army. XiaoKai's army with obsidian statues will most likely outlast his opponent, as this is turning into a pretty rough spot. Scroll of Town Portal, now in comes the retreat here. Watchtowers here are nearly done, and who is taking more damage here? 42 supply compared to 39. No more, 5 more workers. Where are those workers? Workers are actually off to the north here at these watchtowers, and well, this expansion is going to end up falling before it even really gets set up. Upside down on supply, yep, upside down there. We're looking at the Farseer and the Shadowhunter trying to get to level 5 or get closer to that spot so far. Shadowhunter picking up Gloves of Haste, has a replenishment potion, has a decent amount of mana. Peons are going to try and, well, mine off over here, and it's just really not going to work, as one orc burrow could be taking a little bit more damage as well. Peons already going to be retreating back. There's a great hall being built. Well, expanding where you already have towers makes a large amount of sense. Farseer are absolutely happy to see this gift of of experience not yet cleared up, and that's exactly what you wanted to see. You saw the Wind Riders actually just dealing all of that damage over time. They did one volley on each so that it could tick away, and you saw how much damage this, well, one Tuskar eventually lost, even though it just took one volley and, well, all of that poison there. Peon's going to get finished off. Perhaps more orc burrows will be built or placed down here. Wind Riders, are they going to try and are they going to be able to catch the orc or the undead army there? No. 47 supply compared to 41. The army sizes, however, 38 compared and 39. It is very, very, very close. The peons should attack the acolyte. Yeah, perhaps. But then the peons also want to stay close to the watchtower here. All right, this is going to go very, very poorly for Soin. Where's the engagement here? The Wind Riders are all the way down to the south here. Are we going to get some repairs? Perhaps we are going to get some repairs here. There's a quick impale, though, as the peons, while getting blasted apart by all of that hero damage. Heroes will have plenty of mana plenty of mana, as well as we see some perhaps no devour magic. Scroll of Town Portal, Great Hall gonna get finished off, though, down to 24 hit points right before the Scroll of Town Portal takes everything away. All right, Wind Riders are webbed down. Soin is in so much trouble at this stage. He is not mining any gold at all. And this is a situation where he needs to engage against his opponent before his opponent, well, pushes and ends up surviving. All right, there's some Envenom Spears, or those, well, illusions just going to get finished off, as we're looking at more beetles scurrying their way to the bottom left. No way to train up any additional peons, no orc burrows anywhere being placed, not enough lumber. And that is the problem. All right, however, if XiaoKai keeps on offering up these sacrificial experience offerings to the Farseer and the Shadow Hunter, he'll find himself, well, dealing with level 3 healing wave and level 2 spirit wolves, which, well, deal a lot more damage to those crypt fiends and are much more difficult to be devoured. I am surprised, though, that Soin doesn't properly recognize the situation that he's in. He cannot sit back here. He needs to go all in, and by not going all in, he's just, well, in terms of poker terms, he's just losing money to blinds right now, and his opponent is just continuing to gain the advantage. By the time he all ins, I believe that XiaoKai is just going to have enough bank, enough experience on his heroes, getting to level 3 on this Lich to easily win this next battle. All right. Expansion over here to the bottom right-hand side of the map. So in Shadow Hunter Farseer, he had beautiful items, but, well, he also knows that he really can't engage here as well. Looking at the back line, there's 4 spirit towers. Any harassment onto the is going to end up being, well, not good for the health of his Wind Rider army. Acolytes are trying to retreat away. They're going to get easily taken out again. And this Wind Rider army is just not quite, well, not going to be strong enough to deal with all of those towers there. Yeah, when you find yourself ahead, get further ahead. And, well, Soin is, all he can really do is not fall too far behind. He's going to be able to finish off this Haunted Gold Mine pretty quickly. Units are going to try and retreat. Death Knight is right there. Has to be careful of the Lich's Frost Nova, the Death Knight's Death Coil, and that web from those Crypt Fiends. That all of a sudden will shut them down fast as the heroes are separated from the army. All right, in comes the engagement. Wind Rider's off to the side here. There's some web. Frost Nova gonna go ahead and just slow things up there. Healing Wave trying to bounce around as we're looking at the Wind Riders push their way through. Lich now getting up to level 3. Level 5 now on that Shadow Hunter. Impale onto the Shadow Hunter. No easy more heals. And Soin should just end up losing many of these Wind Riders here. How many Crypt Fiends can he take down in this process, though? 38 supply compared to 31. Army is still continuing to grow for XiaoKai as he's able to train up more and more units. Another Healing Wave right there as Destroyers are getting taken out. All right, once the Destroyers are down, then the Farseers can do more as the Death Knight uses a Potion of Mana to, well, get in a little bit more here. Destroyers trying to get away, able to get away back up to 500 hit points after a Death Coil. All right, Spirit Wolves, Shadow Wolves trying to split apart again. Wind Rider trying to finish off a Destroyer down to 49 hit points. It finally gets taken down as the 3 Wind Riders need to retreat back. 23 supply compared to 33. The supply count was very close for a moment, 22 to 27. But after that Death Coil there, we are now down to 2 Wind Riders, and, well, XiaoKai is still training up more units. All right, Spirit Wolves going back the other way. It looks like there was a Wand of Mana stealing there. And now there is that retreat back. Death Knight with level 1 Unholy Aura. Those units are moving so quickly. Considering that the Shadow Hunter has Endurance Aura, a little bit of a surprise that it's unable to happen. All right, Crypt Lord, it does also have a Scroll of Town Portal. Has to be extremely careful as the Shadow Hunter, the threat of the Shadow Hunter's Hex, forces a quick Scroll of Town Portal retreat. Shouldn't turn east. All right, coming back across here, an army of skeletal minions. Well, trying to take down this fortress here. We are finally, finally able to train up some more units as the Orc burrows. Well, we're taking, or excuse me, we're no longer upside down on supply because of loss of units, allowing for the training of more peons. All right, XiaoKai gonna take, most likely going to be able to take this game here down to the south. I am surprised that we don't see a Haunted Gold Mine or even some Ziggurats just upgrading into Spirit Towers. We are down to, what, 1,500 gold, so about 2.5 minutes of mining left here, and there's still plenty of gold to mine for the Orc, for Soin. And Soin is now perhaps going to be be the one to play with home field advantage. All right, back off to the north here. The Shadow Wolves are just trying to cause problems, do a little bit of scouting, figure out what to do next. We are looking at expansions being placed down in the corners of the map, difficult to be spotted. And, well, if can Soin actually bring a decent sized army to either of those locations without losing positioning here? All right, Beetles are going to go ahead and burrow themselves, stick their heads in the dirt, and make it difficult for that Farseer and that Shadow Hunter to leave. In comes the Undead Army, 52 supply compared to 25. That is not a good spot to be in. There's a quick impale. Shadow Hunter, Farseer, well, Shadow Hunter Healing Wave, or Scroll of Town Portal transfer. Yes, there is, but it may be too little, too late. Lich is going to have, or a giant target to try and Frost Nova that Shadow Hunter, however, cooldown was already complete. Destroyers devouring magic. This is pretty much the last stand. Shadow Hunter will fall, and Soin should be giving the GG here in just a second. So Soin and XiaoKai now all tied up in this best of 3 series. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed it.